Memories are woven tapestries, hiding hard walls. Tell me, my friend, what hue your favorite thread? And I, in turn, will tell the cast of your soul.
What up, and welcome back to another Malazan Book of the Fallen video. This is Memories of Ice Chapter 1. Let's get into it. So we're still here in the trailer. There's still lots of flare in the background. And so we pick up basically 300,000 years or so down the road from that epic Memories of Ice prologue. And it's about 2 months after all of the events of Gardens of the Moon. So all of the Fete and, you know, things that happened the night of the Fete with Animander Rake and Whiskey Jack, Quick Ben, all of that stuff the dust has kind of started to settle on that. And so we zoom in on this new character called Gruntle, who is a caravan guard, and he's basically walking us through all of the events that happened during Gardens of the Moon from a kind of outsider's perspective. To him, a lot of the rumor is for him what it is about, you know, the Malazan Empire invading and there being Jagat and Talon Imas and all these kind of demons and dragons and all this stuff. To him seems all kind of like BS. But the moral of the story from Gruntle's standpoint, at least, is that something did happen, obviously, that took out this bridge. And he's, of course, referring to this bridge that's taken down when Raced is in this huge scrap with Solana when he immediately gets freed from the Barrow. This is kind of the aftermath of that battle, because now the bridge is broken. Everybody's got to cross this river at a ford a little bit up the road, and it's all muddy, and so there's, again, this big traffic jam as folks try and make their way across to the other side, and here Gruntle finds himself. He's also got some homies that he's kind of like the captain of this caravan guard, but he's got Harlow, who's kind of the cynical, strong, silent type, if you will, and then he's got Stani Manakis, who's the fiery redhead that he kind of banters with the most back and forth. They're all working for this merchant named Karuli. And it's funny because even as cynical as Gruntle is and stuff, he actually does like Karuli and kind of seems to have a soft spot for him. He doesn't buy the story or the outward appearance or whatever, and he thinks there's some secrets there or whatever, but he's not too worried about it. He thinks he can kind of trust this guy in a way.
You know what? I feel like you get me.
I feel like I get you too.
As they're sitting there waiting for their turn to cross, he gets approached by this manservant, super creepster dude named Emancipor Reese. He's like, yo, I already got a job. I'm not trying to, like, get poached away. But Karuli's like, no, bro, go ahead. Like, go check it out and see what he wants. He's obviously got some kind of a curiosity there. And part of it is because he wants Gruntle to do a little recon on these guys, or this guy's bosses, whoever Emancipor Reese is working for. Karuli wants to know a little bit about it. Everybody's getting a little bit heated, I guess, or tempers are flaring because they're just bored and sitting around. So he also tells Gruntle to, like, go rescue Stani from starting a bunch of scraps, because obviously she's notorious for firing off, shall we say. And so he offers bonuses to keep everybody in line, because as kind of vagabond as they are, everybody responds to that old profit motive. But he goes with them, right? And he meets this guy, Bauchelain, who's, obviously balled out. They're huge ballers with this dope carriage and super nice clothes that are all dusty. But obviously the guy is kind of well put together, super creepy. He's giving off like Addams Family vibes for days. He tries to actually taunt Gruntle and like bait him into, having a temper or something like that, and Gruntle doesn't fall for it.
Now do a silly clown dance for us.
Oh. Yeah! Grade myself, huh? I don't think so.
But then Bowshelain brings in his like partner in crime, and that dude does scare the out of Gruntle. Guy is super creepy, like next level creepy, exponential orders of magnitude higher. And what we know as the reader is that they're obviously out there investigating the remnants of Wraith's Barrow after he has escaped. Gruntle's like, I'm not trying to go investigate barrows, so I'm going to bail out. And they're like, I think your boss would really want to know. They start querying or questioning Gruntle on Moonspawn. They seem to have a big interest in wanting to know what was going on with Moonspawn. As they're trying to talk about it, Moonspawn actually shows back up like off in the distance, and I think it was Korbal Broach who's wondering like, dude, is he sensing us? Do we need to be worried? And Bauchelain's like, bro, zip it.
Zip it.
And he's like, oh, zip it? So you don't want me to kill this guy then? And that gave Gruntle the willies like crazy. Then we jump to this one-eyed wolf who was kind of wandering around the prologue. He's wandering around Chaos, and he finds this human laying there. Thinks like, oh, maybe I have an opportunity to use this person here, and looks around, notices that the human has just one eye, and goes, oh yeah, game on. This can't just be a coincidence. I also got one eye. And a few seconds later, Toc the Younger wakes up.
I know that, dude.
When Toc wakes up, he's like super discombobulated and trying to reorient himself or get his bearings or whatever. He's walking himself back through the events that were, you know, the precursors to him falling into that rift, right? They got bum rushed by Hairlock, the marionette, and he basically ripped a hole in reality and dumped Toc into it as him and Perrin were getting ready to square off with him. He looks around and he sees that he's in the middle of all of these barrows, and that in the largest, centralmost one, something has recently escaped. He's either thinking it might be the raced barrow or, you know, just conflating it with what he's seeing, but it seems like whatever's escaped has done so several decades ago.
That's not going to be good for anybody.
He starts approaching this tower and trips on a dead body, which actually turns out to be an undead body, and it's our boy Tool with his horn antlered helmet and all of that stuff. And he kind of helps to fill Toc the Younger in on what's been going down. He tells him it's basically 2 months after the fact from where they were outside of the barrow with Lorne, that Lorne has been killed, that the Malazans were basically unsuccessful in their gambit to take over Darujistan. And he also tells him that they're basically in Morn, which is like same continent of Genebacus, way further to the south. Toc's like, yeah, thank you so much, and then immediately like starts making demands of Tool. He's like, what I need is like food, water. He's like, I need to get some arrows, some weapons. I need to make a bow. Actually, he doesn't use the word make. He actually admits that he's pretty worthless. Tool, for whatever reason, takes pity on this guy, or like agrees to help him. He's like, yeah, I can help you make this stuff, or he's like, there's materials for this stuff, and Toc's like, well, I don't know how to make weapons. I requisition weapons from my superiors or whatever, or from a supply officer. And Tool's like, I'll show you how to make weapons and arrows and arrowheads and all of that stuff. Don't ask me why, but he kind of has a soft spot for Toc the Younger. But at this point, like, he's pretty single-minded, focused on getting back to the host, to Dujek. Then we see this lady roll up with her 2 wolves, and the wolves and Tool have this whole little bonding moment. And Tool talks, actually, it was this is just a total aside, but he has this really interesting bit about how they were ultimately responsible for the wolves' extinction. That was one of the reasons why they adopted them in as pets in their clans. And actually in the vein of kind of Western versus non-Western, or maybe colonialist themes or whatever, Toc chimes in like, wow, I'm surprised that you say that you were the cause of their extinction, because I thought you were so like granola and one with nature and all of that. And Tool kind of scolds him for that colonialist type view on how what it means to be one with nature, and how everything is always conflict, and you're not just like one with nature. Nature's always trying to take over the village, and you have to keep the nature at bay and that kind of a thing. And so I'm not going to do a whole thing on that, but that was an interesting little piece to go back and read again. But this woman has definitely given Toc some heart palpitations. We learn from Tool, who somehow has this knowledge that she is the daughter of Draconis. Her name is Lady Envy. She's one of a pair of twins, the other one being named Spite. And he tells Toc that her dad is the one, Draconis, who built Dragnipur and was later killed by Animander Rake with his own weapon. Toc's pretty impressed with her just straight up at face value, but then he really starts to take her serious when he sees that her servants are Segula. She tells him how she was cruising and traveling and they saw her and decided it would be fun to attack her. And so she had to take it upon herself to subjugate these poor guys. And so this just kind of adds to, Toc being very impressed that she's essentially punked the Segula. And apparently this, the lowest ranked Segula is the only one who will talk to her or talk to anyone. Apparently rank is very critical with these Segula, and that becomes evident almost immediately thereafter because this, one Senu immediately tries to attack Tool. And it would have been a full-blown scrap pretty much, but it looks like Envy kind of magicked her way into getting him to back down and just lead him inside where there's two more Segula. As soon as Tool walks into this cave or this tower or whatever, right, you can see that it's like the hairs on the back of the other Segula. It's like wild animals, sending a scrap is on the horizon. She forbids them from fighting, and so they all kind of back down, and then 30 seconds later, Senu steps up and tries to attack Tool again, who uses the flat of his sword to straight up knock him on his ass. Took care of him pretty quick. Damn! She tells Tool that, something has definitely escaped the barrow that used to be the thing sealing the Rent and Mourn, and that now something else has been replaced there and is currently sealing it. She's there not necessarily to investigate that, but she just has a curiosity about what's going on with this Warren. And so she's there kind of doing research just about what's going on with this Warren, what's its origins, which she describes as being kind of mechanical in nature. Tool's like, well, what's up with all these Kachane Shea Mall tombs that are everywhere? And she's like, I don't know, but it's clear that a matron escaped and her whole brood kind of kicked around looking for something for a while, but then eventually bugged out further to the north. And we also find out that she was the one originally sealing that rent. Toc kind of interjects himself and is like, yo, I think we might be homies. He's like, I want to get back to Dujek One Arm, but I think you might be willing to help me because, we're enemies. The Empire is enemies against Animander Rake, and it sounds like Animander Rake killed your dad. Envy's like, yeah, that's an incorrect assumption, but I could see why you would think that. But she's basically like, I like you anyway, and I'll help you regardless. But Tool pipes in like, I'm actually here investigating the rent as well, and I'm doing some research of my own, and so you can actually, if we all go together, we're all going to end up kind of going towards our own goals, which are different, but lay in that same direction. He also tells her that Animander Rake and Kaladin Brood are both heading in the direction that he's headed to as well. He refers to them as her old traveling companions, and she's pretty intrigued that he has that knowledge too, and so they all decide to go as one big happy family. But thank you so much for watching. If you like it, give it a thumbs up, subscribe, join the Discord, buy some merch, become a patron or a member of the channel. Share these videos with some friends so that they get more roped into the books. That's the ultimate goal. And until next time, happy reading.